Good morning, everybody. Thank you to those of you in the room for making it to the first session this morning, and hello to everybody watching online. I'm Eleanor Thornley. I'm the manager of Film Hub Midlands. For descriptive purposes, I'm a short white woman with overly bleached hair and a long green flowery dress. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started this morning. So we have fire exits at the front of the screen. If you hear an alarm, it's not a drill. So please do follow all the lovely stuff at DCA. You'll know exactly what to do in that situation. There is a quiet space downstairs should you need it. Just take the lift or the stairs all the way down to the bottom. Also downstairs there is still 6 fantastic VR experiences that are well worth your time. If you've got a little bit of a break today or just want a bit of downtime to sit on an exciting spinny stool and get immersed in some exciting archive and brilliant stuff. If you want to at home to turn on the captions on Inventive, it's on the bottom right-hand corner of your watch window. We also have live captioning here, just over there. Scan the QR code to go to Slido to ask questions today. In every session except this first session, you'll be able to ask questions on Slido, and there's the code. If the QR code doesn't work, you can manually type that in. There's still also the QR code for the evaluation, so we really do appreciate and value your feedback. It helps us feed into future sessions, future conferences, and so it's really invaluable. If you would take 3 to 10 minutes to fill that out for us, we'd be very grateful. But with no further ado, I'm going to invite the chair for this first session up to the stage. So if everyone would like to say good morning and hello to Kristy.
Hi, my name is Kristy. For the purposes of the description, I am a white woman with dark hair wearing a dark jacket. I am a freelance curator and programmer. Most recently, I have been working on the 2022 edition of the Edinburgh Film Festival. We have got a really quick fire panel to start us off this morning, so thanks for getting out for this early session. I'm not going to waste any time, and I'm going to invite up the director, Hassan Nazer of the Film Winners, and producer Paul Welsh. Would you please join me on the stage? Unfortunately, our other guest, Nadira Murray, the other producer of the film, is unable to be with us this morning. She is dealing with the joys of car trouble, so I'm sure we can all relate and send out all of our good mechanical vibes to them. So, Winners is a film that that's set in Iran. It's an Iranian tale, but it is very much a film that is a British film. It's made here, and it will be Britain's entry for foreign language best film. It's at this year's Academy Awards. It's on that long list. So I thought today, with the film, the film has been made, but now the film is about to be released, and I thought we might spend this half an hour talking about how your roles as director and producer, how do they change, what kicks into gear, and what happens when the film goes into release. So maybe you can start by telling us, what's on your plate at the moment as a director. Your film's about to be released early next year, and what are you doing now? You're not directing actors, but you're...
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for inviting us, and pleasure to be part of this program. It's very exciting, making a film is one side, introducing our film, our baby, is another side. I think for me, the interesting side of filmmaking to make sure more audience watch my movie. So it's my duty to goes around, so make sure everyone knows about my movie, what's happening, telling interesting story, and I think personally for me this is an important side of it, and I want to get involved. I want to get involved to make sure, because it's not easy to introduce independent movie, but not having big, huge company behind your film, So the awareness is very, very important, So we need to run around, we need to go around, So make sure everybody know, about our project, and sort of introduce our film. Otherwise, it's going to stuck there, So we made a film and we got entry and we got, nominated by BAFTA, going to higher stage, and people not going to watch it, So we need to do as much as we can, and that's why. As a filmmaker, I'm not going to do anything else until something happened to this, So
Yeah.
we build something. We need to make sure everything it's audience can watch this movie.
And this is not either your first film for either of you. And Paul, you have obviously produced a number of really successful independent films. And are there things that you're thinking about, before the film is entirely finished? So a film like this, were there things that you were thinking about the release before you were out of the edit suite?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the kind of bottom line with the film is that if you do manage to get people in the room to watch it, is it going to do its own job, which is move them and entertain them and all the rest of it? If you don't have that, then it's all just a kind of charade, if you know what I mean. And from the point I got involved in this project, I thought it's going to deliver for audiences if we really refine it, so we can confidently go out and kind of make proclamations about it almost, So the conversation, for instance, with BAFTA about the film or about the film's existence started about a year ago, well before we'd finished it, well before anyone there had seen it, just to put it on our kind of radar, knowing that in a year's time, if we got the festival premiere that we hoped for and we got the attention that we hoped through the first kind of few engagements like that, then it would be in a good place for the Oscar run. And sure enough, that's kind of what happened. It was always going to be a qualifying film for that particular route. We just had to get it right as a film, to have the maximum chance of kind of achieving that. Also, we made a decision quite early in the year about we're chasing some of the kind of A-list festivals, Cannes, Berlin, and the film got a lot of long looks, double, they would look at it once and then look at it again, but never quite made it into the mix with those festivals. And I thought, well, we have to build from somewhere. We have to build enthusiasm from somewhere, and we have a good, I've got a good relationship with Edinburgh, and had premiere films there before, and I thought it is a British film, and Hassan is a British filmmaker of Iranian descent, and we should feel confident about building from there if we can get a slot. So Edinburgh then became our focus, so we kind of stopped worrying about all the other stuff and just focused on making it a launch pad for the film, which was the whole of the summer basically, preparing for that. So we got the maximum out of that. I didn't realise quite how hard it was to get trade reviews, but I was super confident if people sat down and watched the film, we'd get good reviews. So I was just like, for Edinburgh, the festival is brilliant, but the thing that really made a big difference out of the festival was 2 reviews, Screen and Deadline, yeah.
And then for you, Hussein, obviously, you've sat with this film for, the story you've sat with for a really long time, and it takes a long time to make a film. But as a director, what does it feel like when you meet that first public audience? Obviously it's scary, but what does it feel like as a director to see them?
For sure, I can say it's very scary. I always do it, when the movie starts. I always go at the very last seat at the back, make sure to see the reaction of the audience, from the back. They're looking at each other. They're quiet. They're going to toilet or not.
Doing the numbers.
Every time, I'll just make sure the person is going out of cinema coming back.
Okay.
If it's getting too long, it's
knocking on the door.
Yeah, that's right. It's enjoyable as well, and I think this is fun part. If I see, the audience like the film, and our film it's audience film. So we made a film for audience. And we even advertised as feel good movie, and this is something. The first award we had from Edinburgh was audience award. So this is very, very important for us. The audience like the film, and I always want to make a film for the audience, because that's an important part of the filmmaking. We just don't want to make a film for ourselves, or for individuals. So it's for the public. So I think we were succeed on that, and we had very good review. And most of this review, they concentrate on audience, enjoying watching this movie.
And was Rain Dance the same? So when you screened there, you obviously meet a whole other audience. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I remember we were in Dinard, and we had this, glamour red carpet in Dinard, and so everybody said, "Oh, you're gonna win! You're gonna win! You're gonna win!" So and it's feel good, and especially you have a film called Winners, so the winners are the winners.
Tempting fate.
Yeah. And it's very, very much enjoyable for me personally to watch something. I don't want to say I created, but I was part of making this project, and everybody helped, and I think it's very enjoyable. Yeah.
I think it's important to point out though that the positioning of the film up until now happened with no resources. We don't have any resources to position it, like to market it, So there wasn't until now, in the last 2-3 weeks, there was no marketing spend on the film as such. It was purely our enthusiasm and programmers' enthusiasm for the film, and then festivals and audiences' enthusiasm it's kind of built from there. And obviously the critics coming in, the trades coming in, and also kind of backing that up. It's platforming it, it's kind of pushing it up levels. And we basically have to keep that momentum. We have to find ways of keeping that momentum going, even if we don't, the Oscar run is an incredibly long shot, but what it does do is elevate the awareness of the film beyond that particular run. So you have to kind of embrace that idea of it, as opposed to thinking we're going to make it to the final 5 films in 2.5 months' time, and that'd be fantastic if we did. But it's worth more than that to us, and it's worth more to Modern Films who have picked up the film for the UK. It's worth more to our sales agent if we can kind of present ourselves to the industry and beyond that to audiences in an exciting way, which belies the resources that went into the film, because nobody would believe what the film was made for, whilst it doesn't feel like that or look like that. It's the nature of making a film in Iran, the difference that comes about making that kind of decision, which has made all the difference to what's on screen.
And how do you think, obviously, there's a lot of people in this room who sit on the other side of the filmmaking fence, we're in the exhibition side of the business and run cinemas or festivals. What, when the film will get released early next year with Modern Films, what do you hope that cinemas will, do you want to be involved in that release and really be able to go out to cinemas and meet people and meet the audiences that are coming to the films? Is that exciting?
He's going to have a busy March.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, many countries, especially, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Iranian cinema. For example, if the film is released in Iran, because Iran has national cinema and they make their own film, they don't show foreign film. So basically, all cast and crew get involved when it get released, at least for the first 2 weeks. So they must, even as part of the contract, they must attend into the audience screening. And this bring a couple of things. It's not only for the release; it's getting engaged with audience. So audience and bringing audience into the cinema. Some of them maybe they don't want to watch film in a big screen. They just come for cast and crew. It's kind of exciting for the audience. It would help both sides, release and bringing audience into the cinema, and of course it's going to help. And it's in the financial side, it's going to help as well. And I think it should happen here as well, So and we would like to get in if they allowing us, So but we don't know what they're going to do. We can't push them. We want to be on each screening. Sometimes, where we go for a screen, Paul asking me, would you like to watch it? I say, yes, I want to go. He said, no, I'm going to do some, I would like to get, to be involved in, be with the audience and watch and see the reaction. And if they have some question, I can answer. It may be interesting for them. As much as they want, we would be there. But if they don't want us to be there, no problem. We're going to leave.
And Paul, trying to sort of, as you say, like this campaign has really built out of, not a huge, resource. And so you know, obviously you thought about how you were going to launch the film, but from a marketing perspective, before you had Modern on board, were you sort of thinking about strategic things that you were like, okay, I know I need these trade reviews, and then...
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we're still pursuing the Hollywood Reporter, Variety. They haven't reviewed it yet. There's a whole bunch that haven't, which is, I think we're in a good position in that respect, because at some point they're going to do that. I don't know when, but at some point they will, and I'm sure for the most part they'll kind of support the film. But yeah, you need to, you know, one way or another, you need to badge the film. So obviously your distributor is the ultimate version of that, but every set of laurels that you can put on your poster, every quote that cues people into the pleasures of the film and the excitement of the film. And they're not necessarily all, by any means, just the trade reviews, and we haven't had any broadsheet reviews or anything yet. That's all still to come, and it will come. But it's bloggers online, you know, like there's lots and lots of sites, intelligent writers doing interesting things, very, very developed websites actually. There's one that we came across, never knew about it before, D-Movies and people like that. And there's lots of, you know, really good writing. There was one particular review by somebody, I can't even remember the person's name, which was so insightful about Iranian cinema and how, where this film sat within Iranian cinema and the references and everything else, and the kind of levels and layers of the story, and the use of, you know, kind of memory and time, and it's just fantastic to read it. So there's a wealth of stuff happening, not really at our behest, if you know what I mean. It's just kind of happening naturally, and you can kind of harness it now if you're out looking for it into a campaign. So we're using some of those quotes on Variety ads next week. We've got full pages and in the kind of what do you call them, the standalones, you know, for international. So that's a big spend for us, you know, massive spend. But Screen Scotland have been convinced, and rightly so, they're very supportive of the film, that it's worth it, because it's going to kick back not just in the UK distribution, but it'll kick back international as well. So we're in a kind of good place, a healthy place. But again, I've got to say that the level of investment in this film, you know, for a marketing campaign, let's say for the awards campaign, is relatively low, is you know, compared to the films that we're running against. But again, if you can get someone's eyes on the film, I mean, I kind of have a different reaction to making a film, I think, than a lot of the directors I've worked with, because from my perspective, I kind of know, because I know I'm the audience for my own films, as opposed to the author, and I'm very confident. I was very confident in this film when we finished it, much as I was with other films that I've made. I just thought that's going to work, because it works. You can see it. You know, it's a bit like programming it for a festival. You have to recognise what it is, and you know that it's going to work. And that's, you know.
Speaking of working, I hear that you're about to do some drumming on, is it live broadcast?
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the fun PR things that you're going to be doing in the next little bit.
Next 3 days?
Yeah, we want to hear about the wacky requests.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, you know, get all this event, you know, I didn't hear about it, but they're going to remind me, you know, they keep reminding me, you have this coming on Monday, you know. So
he's on the
Monday.
MK3D on South Bank. So Mark Kermode does some kind of NFT1. It's kind of live streamed, I think, live show, panel show with like people from film, and I think Mark Jenkins is on it as well, and a few other people. And Hassan's been invited on to talk about winners next week, and they've also asked him to bring a musical instrument.
Oh yeah, I have to do it. So I need to do some drumming,
because they're going to do. All of them are going to do some sort of Christmas tune.
I like that the sort of this filmmaker band is forming.
So I think it would help the film as well, and you know, it's good to.
Yeah, so part of that, you know, so part of the spend, you know, the marketing. So we've got the premiere on board for the UK, helping set up these kinds of things. We've got a publicist in the States, and you know, there's a lot of awareness raising going on, just positioning. You know, just having the right people speak for your film, whether it's a distributor or a publicist or a financier, or a programmer or a festival, you know, it's massively important, because people take other people's opinions seriously, or recommendations, and a lot of what's happening with our film is definitely down to enthusiasm. I mean, the producer, I don't know where they saw it, but the producer of Mark Kermode's show, for instance, had seen it and considered it to be an absolute gem, and I had no hesitation about, you know, I don't even know if Mark Commode had seen it at that point. I'm sure he'll have seen it by Monday.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing is really massive for us, because we're not yet going out on, you know, the tube, you know, full-size posters on the tubes and all that, although I've heard chat of such things later.
Maybe a picture of you drumming. Well, I mean, it's really interesting to sort of, you know, it's a whole other crew that almost comes on board to, you know, release the film, and I think it's a lot of moving parts. But so Modern Films have the film for the UK. So if you are a cinema booker, get in touch with Modern. The film is going to go out in the first quarter of next year.
So very efficiently and rightly, their page is up.
Yeah.
You know, with the trailer and all the useful information about it in terms of setting the scene with it. And that's something that they've driven, to be honest. We never, and that's just their auto action, if you like, for a release. So you'll find things there that are quite useful and informative, I think.
Well, I'm wishing you the very best of luck
so
with the award season and with the release in general. But yeah, thank you for making the film, but for coming and giving us a bit more insight into this last push of the film. So would you please thank you very much.